Welcome back to Lucore Automotive Services. Today I'm working on Austin's 1979 Spirit AMX. We're going to make some changes to the transmission, and I'm going to try and get some information so that we can get the drive shaft cut, and then hopefully I can have a fairly easy swap out on this. We're just moving from a T4 to a T5 to get an extra freeway gear. We picked up a T4, actually I think it came with this car. It's been sitting in the back corner and I've been moving it around, and I'm tired of moving it around, so it's time to go put a 5-speed in this thing. I've got the drive shaft loose already. Ooh, that's gonna be a whiteout. I got this rear end put in this thing just the other day. This is a Posi 280 something gear. And I think it'll motivate the car just fine. It looks like it's dripping from the pinion seal, and it looks like the cover was porous. So I'm going to get a pinion seal and a new differential cover for it. But I wanted to pop this drive shaft out to make sure our tail shaft splines are the same. And I want to know how long I need to make this drive shaft, because I'm going to have to take probably an inch out of it, or thereabouts. The last time we put this in, it was super tight, so it's almost too long as it is. Where's my pry bar at? So I'm going to pop this guy out of here and throw the needle bearings all over the floor. That's how I roll. Actually, this one's perfect. So let's check. Let's grab that one before we throw it on the floor. I got to pick up a pile of needle bearings. That's always fun. Be right back. Alright, found all my needle bearings. Put them back in their cap. Put my cap up there for safekeeping. Put my other cap with it so I don't lose it. I'm pretty good at losing stuff. Alright, so first I want to check to make sure my tail shaft is the same spline on the T5 as the T4. It should be, but I've had worse things happen before. So, I have to excuse the mess on my tool. So I have full engagement, and it will sink all the way in, so I'm good there. Spline counts, check. Don't show that on the ground. So, 24.5 inches. .4 inches. So our shaft needs to be a ½ inch shorter. Well, isn't that a bear? That's really close. Alright. Shifter position is at 16. That might be a problem. And we don't have the right shifter for this one. So my shifter is 3.5 inches farther back on this transmission, so we'll have to see if we can get an offset shifter that will put our shifter in the correct position, which I'm sure somebody makes. Well, I'm glad I'm figuring these things out today. So the next thing to figure out is I need to get my T4 out of the car. As I recall, I tried to install this when we put this car together, and the input bearing housing, which the throwout bearing slides on, is too long. So I got to figure out if my input shafts are the same length, my input shafts are the same spline, which I believe they are, and I may be able to just switch the input housing from the T4 to the T5. and that will solve my depth problem. So, time to pull a trans.
In some instances, a bigger, longer shaft is not always the correct shaft. In my situation, I'm about an inch too long to fit ideally where I need to fit. So, fortunately, I have the guys here at Driveline 1. They can shorten my shaft. They're going to take about an inch out of this tube. Need to take her down about an inch so she fits where she needs to fit, ideally. And if there needs to be any repair work going as far as the yoke or U-joints, these boys can do it too. Drop off the shaft. Weirdly, they don't get a lot of requests for shortening of shafts. I don't get it. I can't be the only one that has this problem. Whatever. Back to work. Thanks to the guys at Driveline 1 as always.
Defying gravity. Go figure. In my shop, that's hard to believe. Oh, there it goes. It's sitting there just fine. Super easy. Uno, dos, tres. We are free. Anything else hooked up with this? I don't think I do. I should probably go ahead and take my mount off. One funky mount. Oops, gravity. Mr. Drive. Oh, he's just a little guy. I got the shaft.
Not all about size.
So I think our shifter position is going to be the biggest thing to overcome. We're going to see if we can find a shifter that will relocate our shifter position like 3.5 to 4 inches forward. I don't know if that's out there. I'm sure somebody makes something close to that. Ugh. Got gear oil dripping all down my leg. But since I have the exhaust down, I'm going to go ahead and weld up the tops of these exhausts because I never did that. Actually, I can pull them off the car. Probably do that. It's easier to work on it weld it on it from the top, because now I can flip it over and do the top side and the bottom side. So I will do that. And I was correct on the transmissions. The input shafts are the same, but the front bearing retainer assemblies are different. The one on the T5 is longer than the one on the T4, so I'm going to probably just switch them from one to the other, or get the part number off the one I need and get one coming You can see the spline counts are the same, the lengths are the same. Looks like that one's a little bit shorter. I'll have to see if that'll make a problem. But this guy is definitely longer than that guy. And this guy ends up hitting the clutch, so if I can switch that housing out for this housing, then I'm good to go. Well, I had to cut down the outside diameter of the front housing, and I shortened the neck of it, and now I've got the dimensions I need there. My depth on my input shaft looked good. I put a new input seal in it as well because it was dry and gross. I actually got a new tail shaft seal for it to put in it as well once I get it up in there. Everything's looking pretty good. I'm probably going to have to make a new transmission cross member because it's going to have a different mounting location. But that's what happens when you make changes. More than one thing changes. So this guy's ready to stab up in there. It shifts through the gears, it rolls over fine. The input bearing looked really nice. No signs of rust or damage, so we're gonna swing for the fences and hope that this transmission's good. I think it is. It feels pretty good. I mean, we'll find out as soon as we have it running if it's got a bad synchronizer or not, but whatever. Should be okay. We do have to source a shifter for it. We don't have a proper shifter for it. So, actually, I might have a shifter, although that's going to be off of a truck, so I don't think it'll fit. I think at that point, I'm going to go ahead and stick this trans back up in here so I can figure out what I need to do for a cross member and keep moving forward. I was getting ready to put my trans back up in here, put the T5 up in here, and the pilot bushing's the same. I was looking at the pilot bushing in the back of the crank, and I couldn't see it. I'm like, man, did I forget to put a pilot bushing in this when I put it together? I guess I could have, I don't know. So I took the trans all apart, or took the clutch apart, and the power bearing was sitting right there, and I'm like, oh, well, that's awkward. I wonder if it pulled it out on the input shaft when I pulled the T4 out. I got a new one. It's not really worn, but I'm going to put a new one in anyway. Kind of weird, but we'll put a dab of grease on it. I might stake it into the back of the, I put a stake on the crank right there just to see if that helps hold it in. And it's supposed to be a pressed fit. That one's pretty big. Kick the baby. Good thing we have good thrust bearings in there. Although I probably don't now. There's some grease at. I just had that out. Get it all sloppy in there. Our clutch is looking pretty good for the 15,000 miles of abuse we've given to it so far. It doesn't have much wear. Now this is a much bigger clutch than what comes in these AMC Spirits. But you can see the flywheel is dual drilled. So normally it runs a smaller pattern. Actually, this is still on the smaller pattern. We could put an even bigger clutch in here. This is a clutch out of a Jeep CJ. I think this is an 11-inch clutch. I think these came with like a 9-inch clutch, which we would have destroyed on like the second test drive in this car. That shift position is very different. That's all right. We'll make it work. Where'd my bolts go? I'll put those somewhere. They're probably in the passenger seat. Oopsies. I'll have to grab those.
Got what I need? Got what you need. Look at one. It should be about that much longer.
That works for me. And my new steed piece. That's very exciting.
Brand spanking new. You know how to drive a standard?
Yes.
Excellent.
Now, whether or not I can do it with my old man injury knee,
Oh, that's right.
I gotta work the clutch. We'll see. Let's talk about a couple things we didn't have a chance to film while we were hurrying up to get this done. The steed shifter is now installed. As you can see, we did have to modify the trans tunnel. This used to be my old shifter setup here. And that did sit up here. And that was what took care of my trans tunnel, right? Or, well, that way. You get the point. And we had a little boot that covered it up, so yeah. So with the new shifter, it's back considerably further. However, this steed unit, you can actually install this two different ways. You can install it either with it forward, and you just spin this around and it's 2 inches forward, or 2 inches backward. We think that backward position is going to be the position that wins. We just got to figure out a shift knob solution. I'm sure there's something around here I can steal a shift knob off of, because it didn't come with a shift knob. And the one off of the AMC is a different thread pitch than the steed shifter. So I've got to figure that part out, but that's not a big deal. Rich did mention in the video as well that we had swapped out the rear end. A local gentleman in the AMC club happened to have a Posi setup 1979 Spirit rear end that he pulled out of one of his 1979 Spirits. Mine was an open rear diff, his was a Posi, and he sold it to me at a very reasonable price. So we went ahead and picked that up, and then we swapped over all of my brake parts and everything onto his rear end, and then have now done a pinion seal, and then reseal the rear so that that's all done with new fluids and everything else. So I do now have Posi in the back of this car. We didn't film that. We didn't have a chance to, because we've been hustling to try to get this thing ready for Great AMC Day, which is, you know, like moments away. So you'll see that next with this car. I do have some longer studs that you saw there at the very end when I was over with Uncle Terry at Jegs. Because the offset of these wheels are completely wrong. They look fantastic, but they're completely wrong. And I have a minimal amount of thread engagement. And by minimal, I mean, let's not talk about how much thread engagement I have. So we're gonna have to upgrade some longer studs in this guy to be able to drive this thing safely now that I can go out and beat on it a little bit more with the 5-speed and with the Posi, because burnouts are gonna happen. Yeah, that's where we are with this point. It's pretty well ready to go. Got to do a couple things in the morning. We did not find a trans or a speedometer cable, because the speedometer cable size is different on the input on the T4 as it is on the T5. So we're got to figure out a solution for that first thing in the morning. At the moment, it's got a rag stuck in the corner of it, so got to figure that out. Make sure we got fluid in it. It's never been test driven at this point in time, so hopefully everything's fine. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure that out. The Max Bore 304 project still sitting here right now. She is exactly where we were last time you guys saw it, but we will be moving forward on this. I was hoping to have that done for the Great AMC show. That's not going to happen. But I think we have everything we need to get it done in order to be able to maybe make it work for Power Tour. So we'll see. Yeah, that's where we're going to wrap this one up, guys. We got a bunch more work to do. Got to get back in here again first thing in the morning and finish off the stuff on that so I can get on the road and get down to Great AMC days at Edgewood or Motorsports Park, which will already be over before you see this video. So that's where we're going to end it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. More AMC stuff definitely coming. Power Tour is just around the corner. Still have no idea how this whole thing's going to work out. If we're going to have time to work on one of the other cars to get it ready to go or not, I don't know how that's going to work. We've only got a couple of days left. The AMC is, other than the engine swap, is basically ready to go. So we'll see. Wish us luck. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.